Hi, this is Kerry. About a year ago, I received a communication from my spirit guides where they shared with me information about a young girl gone missing that matched with Summer Wells. The information from that reading that I shared about this case in a previous video ended up being quite controversial at the time. I shared that Spirit had told me that whilst the parents may have had issues and may have neglected their care responsibilities, neither Don nor Candace were actually directly involved in the disappearance of their daughter, Summer Moon Utah Wells. I got a lot of comments about that, and I understand that people feel really strongly about this case and have many different opinions. A few months ago, one of my subscribers, and thank you, you know who you are, shared some additional information with me, and it made me realise that there seems to have been a bit of a shift in the feeling and direction that those still following and reporting on this case have moved to. This change in focus matches far more closely with the information that my spirit guides originally gave me. I wanted to thank everyone who liked, commented and shared my previous readings about Summer. I have read all of your comments and replied to most of you. You've probably noticed I don't put out video after video daily, weekly or monthly about this case. This little girl is not clickbait in my eyes, and the suffering and loss that all those who knew her and loved her is not something that should be exploited. I'm only putting this content out with trust that the universe will arrange for the right person to see it and be able to use the information as a tool to further the investigation and hopefully find Summer and the truth. Unlike some psychics and mediums, I don't call on Summer to communicate directly with me. Of course, if she wants to come through, I'm open to that communication. But my guides have explained to me that when you think about someone or when you call out to someone, you're actually tuning in to that individual person's spirit, their soul vibration, which is as individual as their DNA. And that by doing that and attracting and pulling in that unique soul frequency, in a traumatic situation, it can hold a soul close to the earth plane, and sometimes with that grief even stop them from moving on to the halls of healing and to heaven, which is why I don't do that. My guides initiate these communications, and after that I do ask them for any more information that they can share, which they will do, but mostly they show me and tell me the same information I previously received, which is why I don't put out constant videos. And that's because it remains the same. So I don't see any point in sharing the same information in slightly different ways over and over again just for views. Now it's been over 2 years from when Summer went missing, and I asked my guides what else they could share with us, or for the highest good of honouring justice for Summer. What I saw, which is what I was also given originally, is that Summer left the property of her own accord, and she was following her favourite dog down a pathway. She saw bigger dogs and had crossed the road and thought that her little dog had also crossed the road, but that was not the case. She had not seen her little dog circle back, and worried for that puppy, she crossed the road and went after them. I saw her walking out past the end of a driveway and going right, crossing the road But back on the opposite side of the road, there was a crossroad that she went past, but she was on the other side of the road. Then I saw her cross back over the road and walk into a section of trees, still following the dogs. But this section of trees was, the crossroad was behind them towards her house. As she went into these trees, she became disorientated in the bush and walked for a really long time before she came out into the opening of a field. I believe that she was in this area for at least 2 hours before re-emerging, and 2 hours or more before any alarm was first raised by her mum. Here is a map showing the direction she may have walked and the direction of the dogs. I saw Summer leaving her property just here, crossing this road and following it down past that crossroad, and then crossing back again, going into these trees. And this is where she became disorientated. What she wasn't aware of, though, is that the dogs had actually gone down the side of this and looped back around. And that's what I was seeing. Now, I have to say, in seeing this, I'm going only by the way I was shown when she went walking down a track. But I could be wrong about where she re-emerged from the bush at the end. And because this is not fact, this is my interpretation of psychic visions and messages, I've indicated a few possible directions because I don't want to point the finger or allege the involvement of anyone who may have been on these properties. But where she emerged, there was tall grass, or like a grass-like crop growing. And yes, I have previously sent these details, and what I'm about to share with you again to TBI over a year ago. Where she emerged, she could hear a vehicle, and it sounded like machinery running in the distance, and she went towards that. It was difficult to see her amongst the tall grass-like crops. And where she came out was almost directly in front of this vehicle. And I feel that she was hit and run over. And the person that was driving this vehicle at the time had felt that they'd run over something, but they weren't sure what it was. And they didn't see her step out in front of them. They did stop though, and they looked, and they found Summer. This was a shock, not understanding where she had come from, and an immediate sense of fear and panic over what to do. They believed her to be instantly deceased and panicked about calling police or ambulance, and I believe this was because of other nefarious activities that they were involved in or had previously been involved in and may have faced charges for. They just felt they wouldn't be believed, and this was an accident, and that she was already passed, so they panicked, not knowing what to do. The picture here is similar to what I was being shown. This is not the actual machinery. My guides gave me the word slasher. And a friend of mine, Linda, who is also a medium, said she got the words rotary hoe, which was a close validation to the visions and messages I had been given. I feel that they took her little body back into a very large shed and placed it in a large esky. That's what Australians call like a thermal box to keep things cold when picnicking or travelling. It looks like inside the box there were large Hessian type bags or material. I also saw nets as well, so it could have been used for fishing. This is just an example of the type of esky that I was seeing, and hessian bag and netting. It wasn't new like this, it was old and grubby, but this is just to give you an idea of what I was seeing in my visions. Feel that the person that did this, and it was a male, I believe they were drinking that night, and not really knowing what to do about this. Spirit did give me 2 initials that were also given to my friend and medium Linda, which validated that the initials given to us were significant. I've not included them in this video because it could point the finger at someone, and as I've been told by one of my subscribers, it's already a chaotic shit show between locals, so I don't want to add any ammunition to this chaos. That is not what this is about, and won't get the answers that everyone's looking for. But again, I can assure you that this information has previously been sent to law enforcement. It also seems to link to someone associated with the property that I believe Summer walked onto when she came out of the bush trails, which is why I'm being very careful not to identify too closely who this may be. Please remember, these are only my opinions from the information given to me from my spirit guides and cannot be considered as a fact. They are only given as a tool for those that may be looking and searching as a guide to where they might find some real evidence and some real information. Then it was shown that in the early hours of the morning that this person packed that icebox with other camping and fishing gear into an old 4-wheel drive vehicle, or you may call that a truck, and it looked to be tan in colour, and I've provided a picture of something similar to what I was being shown in my visions here. I've also provided a picture of the large shed that I believe that she was put into before being moved and taken away from the property. So I'm just trying to show you the pictures as closely as possible to the information and the visions that I was shown. These are obviously not the actual places or vehicle. Now, I had previously been shown, and was shown the same thing again, that she was taken out of the area inside this icebox esky, and was taken to what I thought was like a national park area that had water, and it also had like a large rocky outcrop around it as well. So there was water there, but you could walk up through like a mountainous pathway. This was beside the water. I saw that Summer's body was removed from the icebox and wrapped in that burlap sack, that hessian bag, and the esky or the icebox itself was dumped basically on the side of where that water is in a marshy area. And the fact that they're still giving me that makes me feel like it's almost sunken in that area, and it may still be there. So if that's found, there could be a link to DNA inside that esky or icebox. I then saw that Summer's body that had been wrapped was taken up this Rocky Mountain crevice and dropped in a crevice between large rocks down towards the water. And what I've shown you here is something very similar to what I was seeing in that area. Now, my friend and medium Linda, when I asked her what she got when I said the name Summer Wells, she got the word quarry. So I used the direction I believed they'd travelled with Summer that I'd previously drawn on a map that I'd sent to TBI and looked for a national park area or quarry. And this is what I found. So this is the original map that I got so that I could draw what I was seeing in my vision as to the direction I believe they took when removing Summer from this area. And this is just a screenshot of the search I did looking for a match for a quarry or national park. This top map is the original one that I'd drawn, and the bottom map is one that I found for Clifton Rock Quarry. And this seemed very close to the direction that I was shown that they travelled in and where they went to, but not quite. So then I checked maps again, the direction to the rock quarry in Erin. The pictures I found were very similar to the rocky outcrop I saw beside the water. My guides also gave me some new information, and this was a vision of a fish that turned red. So I've interpreted this as referring to someone or something as being a red herring. So there seems to be a deception or misleading of people that is either to cover up what happened or for some type of personal benefit. And they showed me more than one of these red herrings. So it's very likely that there is more than one individual giving false or misleading information about this and trying to throw directions off track of what the truth really is. And as I've been told by my guides before, many people will be, and some already have been, exposed for crime and corruption. They showed me people being taken away by law enforcement, but they also shared that there is much more yet to come, and that the spotlight on the town and the chaos going on and the dirt being shared by locals is exposing much more than what happened to Summer. My guides did show me long-term abuse going on across this area. There was also a feeling of a link to the church, and a church link to law enforcement as well. And this all still needs to be exposed. With neighbours turning on each other, this is all imploding, but there is still so much more dirt to be revealed. My medium friend Linda also confirmed the long-term criminality and corruption that my guides had told me about, needing to be exposed. She also made a link to a person involved with the youth at a church, and a link between that person and law enforcement. That link could mean that law enforcement are aware of it, of course, or it could mean that a personal connection to the church from a law enforcement person. She was also told about CSA being a long-term issue in the area, and some are having previously been neglected and possibly abused. So I wonder, had abuse been reported about someone looking after the youth group at the church? If not to law enforcement, the church leaders? My guides had previously told me that Candace and Don were not involved. Now, before you come at me, I am only saying that they told me they were not involved in her disappearance. My guides did show me, though, that Summer was off the property for a much longer period of time before her mother realised she wasn't there, and that the time of when she was last seen and when it was reported is much longer than what was said. They also indicated that the father has suspicions but really doesn't know anything either, only the rumours. My guides did show me that Summer had been neglected, and I also believe the victim of CSA. In fact, I think she was surrounded by abusers. She definitely didn't have an easy life. So there is good reasons for suspicion about their involvement, but all I can say is that is not what my guides are saying about her disappearance. My guides indicated that Candace is still, to this day, oblivious and has no idea what really happened to Summer, and nor does Don. But they indicated he is directing suspicion on the wrong person. And my medium friend also indicated she received that same information. She did share, however, that she too saw previous SA, and this could be linked to a youth worker and a link to a church. So the good news is, I believe that law enforcement is watching, and more will be exposed and brought to justice. I don't think sharing this here will jeopardise any operation or watch list that's been going on, because my guides tell me that so much has already been alleged and dirty laundry aired through all the infighting from locals at this point, that sharing this now won't be an issue. Spirit also shared with me that the boys, Summer's brothers, are in need of ongoing counselling and help. This help is crucial in the prevention of continuation of the cycle of abuse, and it needs to end here. Something good must come of all of this. My guides had also told me that there was a bigger purpose here, and I had included that in an earlier video, and that the soul of Rose chose to reincarnate as Summer for exactly this purpose, to end the cycle in their family and to expose the generational criminality in this area. So I hope the additional bits of information I've shared here today reach whomever this is meant to reach, and that the universe intercedes to make this happen so it helps in the search for Summer. Again, these are my impressions from the visions and information I have received from Spirit, and I don't claim that everything is 100% accurate or fact. In fact, I'd be very happy to be proven wrong, and nothing would make me happier than to have Summer found alive, safe, and in good health. I'd like to finish with a prayer for Summer and all those that care about this little girl, and I hope you join me. God, we ask that you keep Summer in your tender loving care, no matter where she is, that you help all those in grief, loss and concern for her, and that everything that is hidden in darkness be brought to light. Please help all those trying to find the truth and locate Summer to find this truth. Please help anyone that knows more with the strength and courage to come forward with that information. God, we ask that you watch over all those that love her, and that you watch over her brothers and remove the trauma from their experience, that they may end the cycle that has existed for far too long. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in comments. I will read them all. May God bless and keep you. Until next time.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.